Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Crypto News Podcast. Your host here, Matt Zayab. We are buzzing as always. Guys, I'm super pumped to have today's guest on the show. I had this lad on the show, I think it was give or take 2 years ago. We've had over 465 episodes of the Crypto News Pod, and I've only invested in a guest about a dozen times, and the guy coming on today was one of them. As always, when I have someone on the show and I'm invested in their company, which is, literally less than a couple percent of the time, I always let you guys know. So I do have some Fetch tokens, and again, just wanted to let everyone know that I do. That's not why he's coming on. He's coming on because he's one of the smartest lads we've ever had on, and he's working for an incredible company. Today we have Humayun Sheikh on the show today, founder and CEO of Fetch.ai, entrepreneur, investor, and tech visionary, coming back for round two. In the past, he was a founding investor in DeepMind. Ever heard of it? Where he supported commercialization for early stage AI and deep neural network tech. Currently, he's leading Fetch.ai as CEO and co-founder, a startup building the autonomy of the future, expert on AI, machine learning, autonomous agents, and the intersection of blockchain and commodities. Super pumped to have you back on. Humayun, welcome to the show, my friend. Pumped to have you on this morning. How you doing?
It's a pleasure. We spoke 2 years ago, man. It was great, and I'm looking forward to a great conversation today. Yeah.
Pumped to have you on. I want to start with something a little weird that happened last week. Mega viral on Twitter. Some guy said, and I quote, "Oh, I was at a party in San Francisco, and one of the leading researchers from OpenAI was there," or he didn't name the company, but we all know it's OpenAI. And he said the reason why a lot of these big dogs are turning down Zuck's multi-$100 million offers is because they have access to cracked models that the public doesn't have access to. And they're using these models to, and I quote, print copious amounts of money via options trading in the public markets with these models, free money. You are switched on. You're one of the few people who would actually have a good take on this. Is this fugazi or is this real? Are there unreleased models that are so darn good that you can literally print money off them?
Well, I can give you my opinion. Obviously, I can't say if this is true or not, but my opinion is that yes, that is absolutely possible. I'm not sure everybody has access to those models, but I'm sure some people do, and I think you could. And these models are good enough to trade against the markets, and in terms of options, in terms of I would say some of them could be as fast for trading, high frequency trading as well. So
Wow.
I would say yes. My opinion is that there is a lot of people who would be playing in the financial markets using these models, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Wow. How I don't want to go all doomsday on us, Humayun, but last time you pretty much called everything to a T. I went back and looked at the show notes. You did say AI agents were going to blow the top off. It's currently coming to fruition, and we'll get into that. But give me just a quick sort of macro, micro overlook. Next couple years of AI, are you in this camp that we're going to enter an AI doomsday where it's literally going to take over everything? So many jobs are going to be lost, but net GDP is going to grow. Companies are going to continue to produce higher revenue levels and furthermore better profit levels because they don't have the burden of having so many employees. What's your sort of quick 2, 3, 4, 5 minute thesis on present day and the next couple months here's AI?
Well, there's quite a lot to unpack what you just said. So doomsday, I don't believe we're going to be ruled by machines. So that's one. Second, jobs are going to be taken away. Yes, but new jobs will be created, which has happened so many times in all the cycles. So you're going to see that. So I'm not a doomsday sayer. I believe that technology use is going to be good for us. What I think is going to be the biggest impact is the fact that you're going to use these models to really amplify and increase the velocity at which we do research, which means new technologies are going to become more accessible. They're going to become become more reachable by normal people. I think they will be able to use it to do and build things like, you've seen many times now, people are building applications which, in a day, which companies in the past have taken years to build. So the acceleration of the technology, the acceleration of research, what that's going to end up is going to have some new boundaries to kind of cross. And what we will see, and my bet is on two main things, which AI would actually unlock. One of them is quantum compute, which I think is just it's imminent. It's just when. The second is it's gonna help biotech amazingly well. You're going to have research, gene therapy, you're going to have cancer
Oh, so
treatments which are
good.
going to come out. And I think that's so for me, I think I'm more positive than negative. But you mentioned about these financial things. That's going to create a huge imbalance. So I do worry about that. I don't feel I think we need to do something, and I think the main thing we should do is democratize it. So if there is a model which people are using to play the financial markets, I think it's governments and regulators' job to make that accessible to other people too. So not nobody has a unfair advantage over others. So I think that's, to me, that's more worrying, having the control sitting with, only a few. So that's the biggest concern I have.
Yeah, well said there. Let's I mean, just going on quantum computing and biotech, I wholeheartedly agree with both of those things. Quantum does scare me a bit, Humayun. Again, and this is perhaps me, I'd like to think I'm more of an optimist than a pessimist, but if I'm North Korea or Russia or, whoever, and I have access to, a $100 million quantum computer, I'm probably going right after Satoshi's wallet. I'm probably going right after Binance, Coinbase, the institutions, the BlackRocks with the largest holdings of, perhaps legacy Bitcoin or if SHA-256 doesn't get updated, whatever the case may be. But that does scare me a little. Where on the flip side, biotech is I think nothing but good. I think it's going to be incredible. I hope it can make us live longer, live healthier, and get rid of all these diseases. So two really interesting things there, but quantum does scare me. Do you share that?
I think I'm less scared about being hacked, but I'm more scared, not scared, but actually kind of slightly nervous about it is if we crack not just the quantum computing and not quantum cryptography, but actually more fundamental things in quantum, that's going to enable us to bring new materials to life. That's going to enable us different ways of transportation, communication. I think that
Jeez.
whole infrastructure is going to change, which I think is quite exciting if dealt with correctly. But I see your point in terms of cryptography side of it, but I think we will have solutions very soon.
Okay, I love that. Let's go crypto AI, the big convergence. Another thing you said back in the day, and again, this is becoming truer and truer as we get closer, not to the finish line per se, but as we get closer to the inflection point. AI agents being sort of the be all and end all of all trading. Like, it's just so much easier. Again, I don't want to speak for yourself, but I have a bit of crypto degeneracy, in my body, if you will. I've used the trading platforms, I've used leverage, I've used memes. I know how to work it. A lot of my friends, my parents, for example, they don't know how to do that, right? It would not be fun if I said, hey, mom and dad, you have to go on Hyperliquid and take out 100x long on whatever. Not too easy, but it would be pretty darn easy, Humayun, to literally just go on your computer like you're talking to ChatGPT and go open up 100x long with this stop loss, and boom, it happens. How close are we to the convergence of AI agents in crypto, where a lot of the trading and DeFi and everything within crypto just happens via agents?
It's now. It's now. So it's not in years. It's not in months. It's now. We're creating a couple of agentic systems which are going to enable you to do that today. Probably looking to release it in a few weeks. The issue is not that. The issue is that the risk is humans are the risk, because okay, agents can do all of that. It's, to be fair, it's just an automation process. What you have is the same risk as a regulator worries about today, which is, if you're putting all your money into something, are you going to lose it? Who's going to, somebody's going to steal it from you. So those risks don't go away just because we have agents, but actually, if played correctly, you could actually improve those risks, because the agents can actually evaluate if this is a good thing or a bad thing. So I think there's pluses and minuses, but to answer your question, this is happening as we speak. So this is not some kind of future. This is present. So you should be able to do that in the next few weeks.
And you guys, this is ASI-1 mini, right? That's your
Yes.
agentic layer.
Yes. So I think before we get to that, I think perhaps a good idea would be just to give you a little bit of my input into where I think we are and where I think we should be. We're still at a very early stage in terms of agentic implementations. The reason I say that is because at the moment you see people just saying, hey, I have an agent and it does this. or here is an agent which just does that. Now, that to me does not sound very agentic, because really that's just having an application. We used to have
Yeah. Yep.
applications like before. All you've done is you've actually automated the process and made it natural language accessible. So I wouldn't call that particularly an agentic system, although that's a component of an agentic system which will now start to exist. Where we're going is that you're going to have all these agents and they will do this one particular thing well. And then you will go to an LLM and you'd say, hey, I want to do this, and it has different components, and go and find me all these agents and put them together and deliver my intent, the task. So
Hmm.
that's when you start seeing the true agentic system. Bringing you back onto the ASI1, ASI1 is that kind of LLM. So you can actually go in and say, hey, I want to do this, and it's going to need 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or whatever number of agents. I don't need to go to this particular website to look at that agent, and I don't need to go to look at that website for another agent. I just type to my meta agent, the LLM agent, and I say, do this for me. And it goes and finds all the relevant agents and says, okay, I'm going to put it all together. I'm going to deliver you the final task. So people who have built these agents don't need to market as such on their own websites. It's the ASI1, for example, is the entry point for a person to lay out the intent and then actually get the action completed in one place. So you don't have to go to multiple agents. That's where we're going. And that's a true agentic system, because you have multi-agents which collaborate to deliver the final task. So, for example, you could say to somebody, I want a weekend away with my partner, and just suggest me something. I like warm weather. I like, whatever.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it goes and says, okay, well, I'm going to test out the weather where it is. So that's one agent checking the agentic system. Then it's going to go to multiple airlines to find you multiple variations of the flight, and then it's going to go to multiple hotels to get you the hotel rates. And then you say, hey, that's fine. Just go and solve it. So it's more, rather than having separate agents being hosted separately or present separately, where I have to still do the work, which is the difference, which we haven't cracked yet. You just go to the agentic LLM and you say, go do this, and it goes to multiple agents and brings it all together. But the key for me is there has to be decentralized, because people should not be waiting on OpenAI to upload their agent, because at the moment that's what's happening. OpenAI and centralized entities. You build the agent, then you apply for it to be present on their system. So what we have in ASI1 is that that's not needed. You can build your agent anywhere. You can just say, put 3 or 4 lines of code, make it available on ASI1. So when you go on ASI1 and you type a query, you can actually search for all the agents that exist. I mean, we have roughly 2.7 million agents running, and
Jeez.
anybody can actually upload an agent and become available to millions of people who are using ASI1. So, and we have designed our model, which is the ASI1 mini, but we have others. So you have, if for different purposes, you have multiple different models. All that does is just how it treats your natural language or your intent. That's the difference.
Mm.
But they're all tuned for agentic systems. So you'll be able to find agents which can do your task, and you can ask them to go and execute the task, and they orchestrate the whole agentic system for you. So I think that's where we are going to see a lot of traction, because that will be a true agentic implementation, which we are not seeing yet.
Wow.
But it's real, and it's available on ASI1.
Okay. Yeah, you sort of just blew my mind there. This is me being a pessimist, but how many jobs does that take away from when you have, like, again, I know I'm thinking of the negative before the positive, and I should definitely give my head a shake and switch that mindset and be more grateful and think about the productivity boost and how much more efficient our life and world will be. But at the same time, Humayun, mate, that's sort of scary, just thinking how powerful that is, and how many tasks that people do with a quick little snap of the fingers is now gone.
Yeah, I think there is an element of that, because if you think about the research side, if you think about programming side, if you think about we have overwritten code. I mean, we give value to software at the moment, and the reason is because everybody is writing the same type of code million times. It's like, oh, I did this by writing so many lines of code, did the same thing with in a different way with so many lines of code. So we have a lot of repetition. What would happen is that will become more efficient because every agent can be used by anybody, and if the
Mm.
agent does the task properly, you don't have to keep rewriting the code. You can actually go to the agent and do that. So yes, I think what are we at risk of? We're at a risk of losing some of the software jobs, but good software developers are always going to be in demand.
Yeah.
We saw that in telecom sector, we saw that in retail sector in the past. But what I think will happen, the biggest impact, and if the aggregators are not careful, is people who the technology companies who aggregate. I think that's why they are so actively pursuing AI and wanting to control it, because all the companies, if you look at the biggest companies, tech companies in the world, are actually aggregators. If you look at
Yeah.
Amazon, it
Yeah.
aggregates products. If you look at Google, it aggregates all the websites and all the services. So, and if you look at Uber, it aggregates the cabs and
Yeah.
all the other ones. But what you have is the reason why aggregators existed was there was no way of searching and finding these services or facilities or things. And then suddenly, now with AI, the LLM can do that for you. So you don't need big search engines, you don't need big platforms. You can give an agent to anybody, and the agent can actually be found and actually deliver the value that an aggregator does. So maybe there's a shift and there's a change in the way we actually do things, especially in the e-commerce side. But I think it will open up new areas and people will start to become more intellectually aware of what they need to do. So, but having said that, I don't think service industry is going anywhere because we're going to need more and more of that, because you're speaking to a machine all the time, which is pleasant, but it still needs to do something. And the robots are not there yet. I mean, they're coming, but they're not there yet.
Yeah.
So you're not going to start seeing robotics straight away. So I think we will probably see a shift more towards better service industry, where physical humans need to interact with other humans,
Mm.
because that's what we can miss at some point.
I like that. Wow. Okay. Man, I got some homework to do. Humayun, we're going to take a quick break. Give a huge shout out to respond to the show. When we get back, we are going to buzz on the crypto treasury news. Interactive Strength, NASDAQ listed company, made a historic $500 million facility to acquire Fetch.ai's Fetch tokens, FET tokens. Can't wait to get into that. Until then, huge shout out to our new sponsor of the show, EMCD. EMCD is all about powering the people. It doesn't matter if you're a miner, a trader, investor, digital nomad, you'd name it. EMCD has been in the mining game for 7 years. They started as a scrappy Bitcoin mining pool. It broke into the global top 10. Fast forward to today, and they're building Web3 fintech tools to help you grow your assets without needing to ride every market wave or nail every trade. EMCD is the all things crypto in one app. It's finance that feels human, designed for real goals, not just chasing trends. Check out what they're building at emcd.io. That is emcd.io. Huge shout out to EMCD, and now back to the show. Okay, before we jump into this, huge congrats. That was definitely not a small investment. $500 million facility to acquire Fetch.ai tokens. Well, Fetch.ai is the company. The ticker is FET, Fetch tokens. This, at the time, I believe, is the largest AI-focused crypto treasury co. It's a great platform. Interactive Strength is going to not only just use the tokens for the value accrual, but to also implement your tech into their system and make all of their Interactive Strength, platform much more AI-focused. I love this. Walking through sort of the boardroom talks, how did this come to fruition? And what's your whole take on the whole sort of crypto treasury co space at the moment?
Yeah, so we're actually one of the first ones to kind of open up that space, just like we did the first merger and just like we did the first IO and the first LLN. So we try and break some trends, and you kind of do these things. You don't know what the outcome is going to look like. You go in it and you try it, and sometimes it's good, sometimes not that great. So the way it came about was the fact that we are speaking to quite a few NASDAQ listed companies who are doing who trying to get into AI space. But you got to understand, in NASDAQ, 90% of the companies have no way of implementing AI into their
Exactly.
system, right?
Yeah.
And there is no reasonably valued companies which exist technology-wise, AI-wise, which have decent valuations or starting valuations for retail to participate in. So that's quite difficult because most of these AI companies, they get either taken by bigger companies or they get valued at
Crazy
20
multiples.
billion plus, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and if you look at what FET, the whole market capitalization is 1.67 billion at the moment, because we kind of we unfortunate but fortunate but unfortunate in a way that we live in crypto, and crypto values meme coins better than real thing.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
we have to live with that. So I was kind of trying to think of a way where, while we are actually enabling an agentic system is the application layer. That's where most companies are going to be implementing solutions. Nobody is going to start building another LLM, right? They're going to do things where they can actually, with the least amount of work, because that's the whole point of AI, is that we're going to reduce the work people need to go into this AI first approach. So they're all going to need agents. So for example, personal trainers, every human being, you, me, anybody who's got a social network should have an agent, will
Yep.
have an agent.
Yep.
Any website that exists will have an agent. Any product that you sell will have an agent. So considering that, we wanted to kind of start with a low risk kind of approach, which is, and as you know, you don't go into high security kind of products to start building agents. And it's a low risk approach, going to personal trainers, for example, and giving them an agent so that they can manage their booking. Gig economy players, things which, like, let's say you have a machine which is going to have an agent, which is going to interact with your personal trainer, which is going to interact with you. So that's how the conversation started. But I think it became a lot more than that, because, in this new phase of AI first kind of approach, most companies will be looking to do that. So we'll be doing more of these deals, because there's a lot of companies which after that kind of came to us and said, hey, we would like to, like, for example, there could be boats for sale or equipment for sale, which they don't know how to kind of give the ability of AI first approach. Where do you go to do that? So Fetch is looking at providing everybody with an agentic system out of the box.
Mm.
So they don't need IT staff, they don't need complicated AI people to do any of that. So that's how the conversation started, but it became very clear that NASDAQ could do with people being able to take some stake in AI itself at a reasonable valuation. I mean, if you think about it, crypto does have this ability that you have this token, which is a utility token, which you need to run any of these agentic systems. That's what Fetch's FET for.
Yep.
I mean, it has a lot more kind of utility after the merger, but that was Fetch's kind of main utility. So these guys are going to be building solutions which are going to need FET. So they needed FET for that anyway. But what they decided to do, and again, this is just conversation, we actively don't participate in any of the treasury that they have. They decided that they need to go to the public market and they need to get an authorization for them for a 500 million raise, so that they can keep adding FET to the treasury over time. And the first tranche was 100 million, which we then actually, as Fetch Foundation kind of took a little approach on buyback as well, because we feel FET is highly undervalued still. And based on the technology that we bring, I don't feel there is anybody else who can claim to have the same kind of tech stack that we have. So we still feel it's undervalued. And we're starting to see a lot more uptake on ASI1, starting to see a lot of people coming and using it. And so of course we have positivity towards revenue generation ourselves. So we felt that we could go and also participate in the buyback of these tokens. So as I said, there's more to come. And we're going again, there's other companies who are looking to do this. And we're quite an interesting value prop for these companies, because we're probably one of the most reasonably priced tech
100%.
stack right? So, and that gives them the ability to participate in that.
Why? And this is a bit of a weird question, but why are you guys so undervalued? Again, I still hold FET. I think it's incredibly undervalued, but like again, just like what you said, Bonk, Doge, zero utility. I mean, Doge has some utility. Okay, whatever. You can send it to someone. It's a bit of a Bitcoin fork in the sense of it's not a store of value, but you can send it, but not really. Bonk, same thing. There's so many meme coins that have billion-dollar valuations, and it's strictly for the culture. It's pure degeneracy, and it's pure speculation. You guys have a business that is literally worth billions of dollars. Why is the token so undervalued?
I think you kind of touched on it a little bit, the degeneracy. I mean, we don't go out and tell this is going to pump, the token is going to pump, because, I mean, if you go out and look at what we have been releasing every single day, there has not been a day when we haven't shown you what we have been creating, and the technology delivery that we have been doing in Fetch. I think I challenge anybody to go out and see any other project in crypto who's done the same. And on top of that, we have actual true utility coming. Our objective is to bring true utility to crypto. Yes, crypto is improving, BTC is improving, but we still have a bad reputation that we are,
Yeah,
we don't have
scammers.
a
Yeah,
utility.
yeah,
There is no utility. I mean, BTC is become, a holder of value, right? But we don't have utility apart from doing meme coins or some kind of DeFi, which is again very incestuous, and we go from one network to the other. So same money moves around, and then we go crazy after meme coins. But I don't think I can change that. I don't think we can change that. It is what it is. It's a market, and I don't have any
yeah,
opinion on it. I think it's a market, and market is whatever the market participant wants.
yeah.
And so I don't think I can probably, I mean, I can reflect on it, but I mean, ultimately at some point we will wake up and we'll say, where's the true utility? And till then, I guess we're not a meme coin. So that's unfortunate for us holders. But we're trying everything. As I said, we kind of been the first IO. We've been the first merger. We've been the first decentralized large language model. We've been the first to do, well, one of the first to do this crypto treasury thing in NASDAQ. I mean, what more can one do, right? So that's kind of what is quite interesting, is that people try not to see that because there is not a quick return.
Yeah.
These companies take some time to build. But as soon as we start seeing proper traction, which is what we're starting to see now, and as it took 5 years for us to go from actually nobody has a clue what an agent is to
Yeah.
everybody talking about an
Yeah.
agent.
Yeah.
But maybe in a year's time, people will realize that how we're bringing outside of crypto revenue into crypto. And I think that will change the game.
Well said. Mate, great episode here. A couple more questions before we wrap up. Any news popping off over the next couple of days, weeks, months? Again, you guys ship every single day. You have 2.75 million agents, 131 million messages exchanged in just a few months. Again, this is on agentverse.ai. Also, fire name. Whoever signed Agentverse, give them a raise. That is friggin' awesome. You guys have the partnership with sort of the AI jobs with Bosch and 11 Labs. You mentioned earlier that the AI agents will continue to gain velocity, and you'll be releasing stuff over the next couple of weeks. You said you're also speaking with more crypto treasury firms. What's good, and what is next for Fetch right now?
Yeah, I think technology-wise, as I said, we are releasing every day. We kind of changed that mindset of, let's give one big technology release. No, we're releasing all the time. So you're going to continue to see a model perform really well, the ability for you to do agentic stuff really well. So I'm just giving you an example. If you want to generate an image, most people go onto one platform to the other platform to the other platform to do comparisons. You can just go on ASI1, for example, and say, hey, go find me 5 image generation models and go and generate this image from the 5. I'll choose whichever I want. You just write that prompt, you get all the 5, right? You don't have to go and choose the agent and speak to the agent directly. So that's already there. What we're bringing next in the next technology releases is the orchestration, which is you can say, hey, take the output from that agent and use it as an input to this agent and go and do X, Y, and Z. So you're going to start building these very, very interesting use cases. And it's so horizontally wide that you can use it from biotech all the way to just a very typical do me an image generation or create a meme. So that's the width of this kind of whole platform. You can actually say, go design me a new protein which does X, Y, and Z, and you can go and use that and then test it, and go find me a lab where I can test it and create a new protein with X, Y, and Z. You can do all of that, and you can also generate a meme coin image, right? So that's the width, but that's coming slowly. But I think over the next few weeks, you're going to see a step change in how we orchestrate things. So that's coming. We are speaking to multiple, and again, I can't commit to any of it, but there is, we're working towards another fund, these crypto treasury companies, which would probably, you'll see another $500 million to $1 billion buyback opportunity, which is coming. Not buyback, I would say probably the treasury opportunity that's coming. So all of that is coming. In terms of actual scale, I mean, we are adding probably around 5,000 to 7,000 users a day at the moment on ASI1. These numbers we haven't identified officially, but we will release them very soon. So we're seeing more and more people use ASI1 as a parallel to ChatGPT, and because our costs are just hold some FET tokens and use it. So I think that's utility is going up. And again, in terms of overall, that's what we're doing. Of course, we're partnering with many companies already. We're looking at automotive already. We probably partnering with a lot of gig economy players. So everybody should have an agent.
Yes.
So every small business should have an agent, and that's rolling out as we speak. And you'll see over the next few months that we hope every business which owns a website should own an agent.
Yeah, well said. Mate, what an episode. Last question before you let us go. Can you please let our listeners know where they can find you personally and, of course, Fetch and ASI online and on socials?
When I'm actually looking at something social media, probably it's X, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So, you can easily find me there. For Fetch.ai, Fetch.ai is the place to go. If you want to find out more, we have Twitter/X account, which is Fetch.ai. You can find us there. And I think those are the two main ones, but we're there on Telegram, we're there on Discord. So, I mean, depending on what you want to do, if you're technical, we have some Discord channels, or just send us a message on X and send us a message on Telegram. We have community members who are very active, so you'll always get a response. And we have agents running, so you can ask them.
Love it. Folks, what an episode with Humayun Sheikh, founder and CEO of Fetch.ai. Absolutely bringing the heat this episode, everything AI related, the AI outlook for the next couple of years, the acceleration of AI, convergence of AI and crypto, AI agents and crypto, as well as the huge interactive strength $500 million facility to acquire Fetch tokens. A little bit about why Fetch is undervalued and a big deep dive on AI agents as well. Huge shout out to Humayun and the team for making this happen. If you guys enjoyed this one, and I hope you did, please do subscribe. It would mean the world to my team and I. Speaking to the team, love you guys. Thank you so much for everything. And back to the listeners, go touch some grass. Enjoy the last couple of days and weeks of summer. Keep on growing those bags and keep on staying healthy, wealthy, and happy. Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on the next one. Ciao.